what's it like here? What's the lifestyle like here? It's easy for me to say it's phenomenal. It's absolutely better than I expected, but I'm going to try and show you. All right, let's get on with it, eh? It's middle of February. Look at it. I mean, I could be in my t-shirt, to be honest. It's beautiful. So, weather, tick. Okay, so the 5 things I'm going to cover: the search, how I found it; the purchase, how that played out; a big one, what I was told before versus what I think I'm learning after; obviously why I chose this region; and then the Italy thing. Why Italy? A lot of people have a bit of a bad view on Italy, I'm seeing in the comments, and it's a bit unfair. So hopefully I'll cover that off from the off. This place is amazing. Why did I choose Italy? Well, I love Portugal and Spain, and I've lived in Spain in my 20s, in my early 20s for a few years, and so I really liked Spain. But then in my early 20s I'd never been to Italy, and so as I travelled, as I got older, hold on, there's a dog, don't wee on my bag. It's got a lot going for it, you've got to be honest. There's one thing I would recommend: if you're in between choosing the countries and you've travelled well around all 3, and you're still wondering what the difference is, there's a video which I recommend. I'll put the link in the bottom, and it's basically a speech about Italy. It's not very long. I'd let that wash over you, and if that appeals to you, you know, do you want an adventure in a country that has all that going for it or not? And for me, it just feels amazing to be here. Anyway, the video is Oscar Farinetti, and it's called The Fortune of Being Born in Italy. Like I say, I'll put a link there. Watch it, see what you think. Looked at Puglia, really liked Puglia. I just felt it was quite far away for me, because I do enjoy driving through Germany and south of France and Switzerland. So coming up and down with the car was quite a big thing for me. So when I then looked at the regions, I say Puglia is beautiful, very hot, and quite vast, quite spread out. What a place though, you know. Again, go down there for a holiday, go down there for long weekends. Amazing. Tuscany is very well marketed, and it is stunning, it's beautiful. It's really busy. I don't think people understand or appreciate how busy it is. The summers are hectic, and the coasts, you know, you've got all the famous coastlines, they are rammed in the summer. So as amazing as they are for holidays, I didn't think I wanted to live somewhere like that. And then this best kept secret popped up, Italy's best kept secret. So I had a good look around, and there's 2 ends to it, obviously. North end's not as mountainous, it's quite rolling countryside, and I describe myself as being in the north end, say. And then there's the south end, which is quite mountainous, and it's where the Apennines come nearer the coastline. Now, I loved it down there, really loved it, and there's some fantastic houses. The only difference for me down there was the cycling. I didn't want to come out the house and feel like I had a mountain climb just to get out the driveway. And it might sound stupid to some people, that was a swear, but I think I want to be cycling well into my retirement. The rolling countryside was more appealing, and then I think because it's rolling countryside, it's more accessible. I can walk to the village, it's not a hike, I go out running. So this end felt better, and to be honest, as soon as I landed here, Senegalia that was, I walked around the old town and thought, this is it, this is amazing. But again, I didn't want to live in a town which is this busy. It's great to come to, and it's 20 minutes away. So I can finish work and could pop down to the beach after work in the summer, which is just golden. And then I go back to the house, and I've got silence, and I've got views, and I've got space. Now Corinaldo, it's got a great atmosphere. There's loads of events. There's a small theatre there, 5, 6, maybe 7 restaurants, a couple of bars. It's quiet, it's busy, it's just right, it's not too much. It's got all the supermarkets, it's got all the infrastructure you could need. So the blend of Corinaldo near Senegalia really stuck out, so that's when I homed in on this region. As soon as I decided that was it, the houses just started to appear. So my advice on the region part, before you look at houses, I mean, you can go online and find any house you want for any price you want. It's literally everything is here for everybody. But until you find that region, you kind of needle in the haystack stuff, because you're not comparing apples for apples. The regions play a big part, and you've got to decide what you want. Now, what was on my list? The access to it. How are you going to get here? How are you going to use it? Is it a holiday home? Well, if you're coming forever, you're going to move here full time, then I suppose that's slightly different. But for me, who I don't think I am going to live here full time for a while, my options are, it's nice, my options are wide open. So accessibility, when I fly down, more often than not I fly into Ancona. There's the odd direct flight from England, but they're not from Manchester. But there are other flights through hubs like Schiphol in Amsterdam and Holland, and then there's Munich in Germany. They're massive gateways, they're massive hubs, and they connect down to Ancona. So flights in and out, there's flights every day, it's connected. And then the internal flights fly all over Europe from Ancona. Have a look at the website, I'll show you the destination. So I see that as accessible, and that airport's growing, so there's going to be some big investment there, and that can only be good for the region. Car hire when you get down can be cheap out of season, literally €9 a day, but I've just had a look for the summer and it can go up to 30, 40, sometimes 50 a day. So that's where the car comes in for me. So driving down is important. If I come down for a long time, a month or two in one go, I might then leave the car at the airport, fly back for work, and pop back down a few days later. It all works at the moment. It fits in really nicely for me with the 90 days every 180 days, which I don't have to pay for yet. I think they're going to start charging for that in the near future. And I'm interested to see what happens with the digital nomads. Italy hasn't decided. Portugal and Spain have started that process, and that could work for a lot of people. So that changes things. Anyway, accessibility, I think Marche is got it all. The toll road flies through here, and the toll road's brilliant. And the train line, it goes everywhere. So there's no issues. You fly into Bologna, Milan, Rome's just 2.5 hours away, I think. Sometimes I fly into Verona. I've even flown into to Venice. Easy, it's just accessible. But I think how are you going to get here? Think of that first, because that can get expensive quickly and hard to do. All right, let's go somewhere else. So I didn't want to be too far down. I didn't want the summers to be too hot, and I didn't want the winters to be too cold. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. The middle of Italy is perfect. Is it Goldilocks and the Three? Yeah, it is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. What am I? I'm rambling again, aren't I? Sorry. No, I've been here a while. It's better than I thought it was going to be. The lifestyle's better than I thought it was going to be. I come from a busy country. I live in England. I live just outside of a big city called Manchester. It's a lot going on there. It's hectic there. So coming down here, it takes a few days for all that to just drip off. And when it drips off, it's off. That's it. You're done. So that was my checklist. View was important. Sunrise, sunsets from the house was important. I didn't want to be in a town because some days I'd like to have a lazy day. So get up, go outside in whatever you're wearing rather than having to get dressed up just to go and sit on your terrace or whatnot. Privacy was important, space, and something that would last the test of time, I guess. Somewhere my family, and who knows what the girls are going to do in the future, with marry, children, who knows, whatever they're going to do. Something that would help us have a family hub. I think that's what I was really looking for. So it's not going to be an Airbnb, it's not going to be a renter. I'll have guests there, I'll have friends and family stay for sure, and I'm not in it to just do it up, turn it over and sell it. It's a long haul thing, so that's what it took a while. It's a big decision really. I think that's enough for now, covering why Italy and why Le Marche. I'm going to go for breakfast, a nice little coffee and a cake, and I'll go somewhere else and film the rest. Maybe the sun will come out. It looks like it's trying. So the search, how did I do the search and how did I find the property? Well, once I homed in on the area, I made quite a long list, probably like 50 properties, ranging from a pile of bricks, literally a pile of rubble, through to a finished house, say. That ranged in price from 10,000 right up to 250,000 euros. Now I didn't have 250,000 euros, so I looked into mortgages, and then I decided that getting a mortgage abroad with everything that was going on with Britain and the EU and all that at the time, I just thought it was too much risk and too much financial risk for me to get into a mortgage. So therefore the top end I discounted. I decided that I would just use the cash that I had, and that obviously changed my budget considerably. So once I decided on the budget, it was then whether it was going to be a pile of rubble to build a house, brand new house out of the ground, or it was buying something that was halfway between, something I could use, live in while I was doing it up. And that was a real tough decision, to be fair. I was torn between quite a few places because there's a lot down here. Those who are looking to build out of the ground or do a doer-upper like I'm doing, there's a lot of houses. It's just finding them. So the search took a while. A lot of agents. I think quite a few agents didn't take me seriously, didn't think I was that serious. So they weren't that great. But then when I found one or two that really listened and really understood what I was looking for, they were brilliant. Absolutely worth their weight in gold. And then there were one or two properties where they knew I was serious. It was a good opportunity. It was all right in the way that it was giving me everything I thought I wanted. So they brought a geometra along. There were 3 houses, 3 different geometras. That made a massive difference, to be fair, because they had the information on what was possible. I'll come to what I was told before I bought versus what I think I'm learning now after the fact. But as I got into it closer, the agents got better and the geometras arrived. And it was the geometra that found the house that I currently bought. It wasn't on the market. So I think when he really listened and understood as to what I was trying to achieve, he must have known the family who inherited the house and reached out and said, do you want to sell? There's this British guy. This crazy British guy. Anyway, it worked. So the other thing to mention is the long list. How I got from looking online, and the websites are all right. The agents take some funny photographs. I'm sure you're all learning, those who are really looking. But there are clues, there are good clues in those photographs. And they don't give too much information for a reason, because there are multiple agents selling the same house, and because the agents charge 3% or up to 3%, and I think they charge both the seller and the buyer, so there's good money in it for them. I don't think they want to share too much until they really find out how serious you are, but when they do, they're really helpful. Alright, so when I got my long list, and it was long, 50 odd houses I reckon, maybe more, I didn't have the time to come and see them all, so I figured, how do I discount, how do I chop the list down into a list of viewings? When I got to viewings, I viewed, I think, about 20 houses. Too many. Didn't need to do that. How I did the long list, and you've got to have the patience for this. In the region I chose, there were a few clues on the landscape, and there's a few distinctive features of those. And I went through that, and I found the villages, I found the angles of the photographs, even looking at the shadows in the sunlight. It was just, maybe I got too far into it, but I got that long list down. The benefit of using things like Google Earth for things like that, yeah, you can see what's next door. You can find all these houses. It takes time, mind. That's when I started really reaching out to agents, and I tried to build a trip, 2 holidays, both were about 2 weeks long, and it was just viewing houses, and that was hard work. It was lucky for me because I could just get down here. I think there's a way you can cut through that. I think if you had somebody this end to help you get down to a short list, and then you come down to just see the short list, you could fly in, have a lovely holiday, and just have 1, maybe 2 days viewing, and I'd cut to the chase really. So it's a lot of research, it's a lot of search online, and yeah, it takes time. But once you find the region, it's a lot easier. You've got to find that region that you love. And then you probably will find the house you want, find the property. They range, like I say, from 10, 15,000 rubble, or you can get a finished house. Now for me, the finished house didn't quite give me everything that I thought I wanted. So I figured if I was going to spend 150,000 euros and it wasn't quite right, and I had to still spend more money on it, it just felt too much. So that's why I homed in on finding something that was, well, you've seen it. It's fantastic. Now I've been in it, I can appreciate its potential and how much time I actually spend outdoors. You don't need a big house. You don't need much here because your lifestyle is just, I mean, I don't know where you're coming from in the world, but the lifestyle here is just so different. You don't need a big house. And in that sense, there's a lot to choose from, a lot of properties. Now, here's the other thing. When I mentioned the agents and what they charge, the amount of places I drive past where there's a little sign on outside and a mobile telephone number where the owners are selling to themselves, they look empty. You'll find them through a geometric or from being here, and that kind of triples the amount of properties that are available on the market. It's a massive amount of them. Like I say, my house wasn't on the market. The geometra brought it to me, but there were a few I looked into that had the mobile numbers outside, and I looked into those properly and I got close on 1 or 2. That's a really good option, but you kind of need somebody here. Now, I don't know, maybe there's an idea, people who need, if you're really looking at this area where I am, reach out, maybe there's a way I can help you, I don't know. But yeah, there's loads of houses on the market, so many. Yeah, the challenge you're going to have is filtering them down. So as I say, Google Maps, you can zoom in, you can home in, see what's going on in the region around it. There are the farms, there are livestock farms and things like that, and landfill sites. Where are they? There's a lot to check, but you can do a lot of your long search, or you can do a lot of the legwork online, and then coming here for a trip is easy. Enjoying it for a holiday. Go to one of the big cities, a bit on the beach, live the dream. I had it perfectly balancing a minute ago. There you go. How's that? Alright, seems like a nice spot. It's probably a good time to talk about what I was told before I bought and what I think I'm learning after the fact. Now, a few bangers, as in things I'm not sure were quite true. And this came from 3 different geometries, slightly different regions, and apparently the rules can change like 5 miles up the road. So, as is everything I say, this needs double checking for yourself, and on YouTube at the end of the day. This is my personal experience, so this is how it played out for me. So let's just take the pile of bricks, and you're going to build a new house piece, which it's achievable. So I said, right, how much? It's my number one question. Almost every meeting is like, yeah, I love all these great ideas. How much? How much? How much? So here's what was said. For a basic house, so that's what I would consider build a shell. So that's footings, walls, good roof, insulated, nice roof, windows, doors, basic stuff. Let's just say your utilities are already there, or they're near the house, so you're not plumbing or piping anything in. So just build a shell. 1,000 euros per square meter. That's floor space, not cubic meter. That's floor space. That's what I was told. 1,000 euros for a basic shell. So I thought, that's all right. All in, I said. Yeah. All in. Caveat number 1. So 1,000 all in, and that'll take you, I think, in my interpretation, it was to first fix. So you'll get your basic wiring in, and you'll get your plumbing in, but you won't get the finished rooms. Then there's the next level where you do get the finished rooms. You get the tiled floors, taps you can turn on, and lights you can switch, and whatever. 2,000 euros per meter. Oh, that's okay, because that's where budgets really swell and change, don't they? In that finished product. So that's a nice house, £2,000 a meter. Then they joked and called it the Ferrari level, £3,000 a meter. And we're like, what's that mean? Is it like Carrara marble, right from the white stuff, right from the middle of the mountain? And it was pretty much that, yeah. So 3,000 for your Ferrari. Again, I checked all in. Now here's the other thing is, if you buy a pile of brick on a piece of land somewhere, in principle you can lift and move that around the plot. And I was told you can move it to anywhere within 20 meters of your borderline. I pushed that on my build, and they said no, so I'll cover that in the other video. The other thing, which I wanted to cover, but I'm totally distracted now because loads of people are watching me, and anyway, not into this YouTube thing quite yet. What else was I going to say? Gone. Right, I'm going to have to pause here. Oh yeah, the other thing to consider, so with the lift and shift piece, you can use your allocation anywhere on the land. Fine, but when I said all in, it didn't include the paperwork, and that's the problem I had, because I could afford a 60-70 square meter build. I was budgeting between 1,500 euros, because I could finish it myself. Paperwork came out at 40 plus grand, nearly 50 grand all in. That's just for paperwork. So is that 1,000 a meter just for the building? Because if it is, that's expensive. There's a lot to learn on that subject. So, Sunday morning, found a quiet spot, busy down here because there's a market on. Great little market, some really nice old maps. I don't know about antiques, but original maps, 1800s, 300 something euros. Anyway, just filmed the final piece, which is, how much does it all cost? How did the buying process pan out? And then the questions you've asked. The buying process is really, it's probably the easiest part. Once you decide on a house, you make an offer, they say yes, you can have the keys like 6 weeks later. The process is slick, quick, really professional. In my case, it was coming into the Christmas period, and I figured they'd want to do it after Christmas, but they were happy to meet. So I signed actually for the house Christmas week. It's in between Christmas and New Year. It took 10 weeks or so, but like I say, it could take it 6. The process was, I have a bank account in Italy obviously, but all my money was in the UK in sterling. So I used a money broker, which you get a really good rate on, and then I moved the money from my UK account through the broker into my Italian account. So there's a full audit trail of that. Audit trail is important, you have to have that. And then before the day of signing, I had to make sure all the money was cleared funds in the notary's escrow account. Now I hear some stories about people trying to get checks, banker's drafts. It seems like a difficult thing to do. So all I did, I just moved 10,000 a day, 15,000 a day, whatever the limit was at the time, into the bank account, all secure, all legit, no stress whatsoever. I didn't have one concern about the process. So all the money was cleared funds in the notary's account on the day of signing. Easy. Alright, so how much does it cost? Now this is the important thing. This is variable right across the country. This is what it cost me, and I'll try and highlight where I think it might be different in your region. Alright, so taxes nationwide. You got to pay a property tax. Now if you go for residency, they'll charge you 3%. They'll give you a grace period, I think it's 18 months, maybe 24 months. So you can decide if you're going to go for residency over that period. And they'll hold the 3% for you. If you choose not to do that, like in my case, I've had to pay 9%. The house was 65,000 euros, which at the time was just under 50,000 pounds sterling. By the time all my fees and transactions came together, it tipped over 70,000. Hang on a second. Taxes, I'm paying 9%. Estate agents' fees, I paid 3%. In that was the help with translation and all the geometrics work. So they cut their own deal. I have no idea what the breakdown of that was. They charged 3%, and I believe the family that I bought from might have also paid something. Probably paid the geometra. Tony was involved, obviously, and added an immense amount of value in fairness to him. I'll come back to that in a second. So yeah, purchase tax, estate agents fee, tax. Right. The big question everyone asks is how much is local taxes? Now this is a huge variable. I pay 460 plus 325, 785 euros a year. That's all my local taxes, bins, council tax, whatever you want to call it. That goes to the Corinaldo town hall. Now I think they overcharged me last year by 230 euros. And they said they'd pick it up this year, which is fair enough. Pay around the summertime, 6 months in arrears, 6 months in advance. All in, done. That's all set out before you buy, so you shouldn't be surprised by these numbers afterwards. You should find out all this before, either from the agent, from the notary, from the geometra, whoever. Okay, that covers the costs. One thing which really helped me out, I only have mains water and mains electricity coming in. So they were on the previous owner's names. Instead of them ending their contract and me starting a new one, which does sound like it can get a bit complex, he said, I'll just change the names over and it's all good. So he changed the names over on the water and he changed the names over on the electricity, and I pay everything online. So there's easy websites. Water I pay quarterly and it is pennies. It is hardly anything. I think my last bill was €3. I'm not here all the time, obviously. Electricity is relative in terms of costs, and all their tariffs are all online, but again I pay that typically monthly. You have your standing charge and then your usage charge. It's cheap, I gotta be honest, it's good. That was all sorted out. Things like internet, mobile phone, this is on a pay-as-you-go SIM, €7 a month, 70 gig of data, mega, and it's fast. And I get fast internet as well. And then I have a dongle thing I use in the house, which is a subscription. That's unlimited internet, pay as you go, and that's €26 a month I think I'm paying, something like that. Unlimited data, good. All right, that should cover that. I'll move somewhere else now and answer some of the questions. Although there's a big giving blood thing going on, I think I'm attracting attention with me YouTubing. Okay. Ooh. So, take your questions. I think what I will do, I said I'd set up a website, which I will do. I think in the interim, because there's a lot of people with questions, I might try and set up a newsletter so that I know how many of you are interested in more detail, and then I keep that away from the main content stuff. So yeah, sign up and I'll give you as much information as I can. Okay, so questions. What have you covered? Hopefully I covered a lot in the main videos, and the bits about planning, there's loads of questions about planning and how all that played out. They'll do a separate video on that one, which I'll go back today and film that after this. There's a few things as well, like, you know, what do I do for a living, and a few personal questions, which I don't mind, to be honest. You know, I've got a choice whether to answer them or not, so it's nice that people are asking me things and you're interested, and the support and following is, like I say, it's blowing my mind, so I really, really appreciate it. Okay, price category, was it worth it, and would I have been better paying more for less renovations? I think that's a good one. It crosses over onto the other video with the content that says, you know, why I bought that house. But in principle, what I think is, when I looked at the finished article, say, or a house that was finished, the floor wasn't quite right, the windows weren't quite the picture window that I wanted, and there's loads of little things. So I don't think I found one within my budget, which is around 200,000 euros at the time, 250 at a push, that had everything I wanted. If I had $500,000, yeah, no problem whatsoever. I'd love to do that. And if you've got a few $100,000 kicking about that you can afford to do these things, you can buy the dream home without question. So for me, I had to make it my dream home, and in that sense, I'm pleased with what I bought, and I think I paid about the right price. I'm living in it, I'm enjoying it, and I can do it up as I want, can't I? I can choose the tiles, choose the floor, choose the windows, and I think that's quite nice, no? Alright, will I use it as a family home or an Airbnb? Family home was the goal, and it's a long plan. I'm 49, my children are late teens. I don't know what their future looks like, what they're going to do or choose to do, but I saw it as a family hub. I'll have friends and family stay, and I've got lots of people willing to be house sitters whilst I'm not around, which is good. My medium-term plan then, before true retirement, is travel as much as I can, and you know, use this as a bolt hole. I don't know. It's not a bad base, is it? I won't rent it out Airbnb style, but who knows what happens next with things. You know, I get a lot of queries of people who are interested, and maybe if there are people who are really looking in this region and there is room to stay, I'd have guests, but it's not going to be a renter in that sense. Big dog off. There's loads of dogs. Italians love dogs. You take your dogs in the supermarket and everywhere. It's amazing, really. They have trolleys, supermarket trolleys, with half of the trolley is for the dog. Alright, history of the plot. I don't know that much. I think it was all farmland. When I bought it, which is the other video, 7 or 8 little plots of land added together to make the purchase, and it was farmland. You can see from the house that the family run it. I don't know how much land they used to own and whether they've sold that off over time. I had to offer the land to the neighbours to see if they wanted to buy it as farmland. 36 hours to get to any regrets? No, none whatsoever. I mean, I live in north of England, so you've got to travel to get down to the sun, really, and the warmth. You know, loads of Brits move to the south of France, or further down, as like I am halfway down Italy. As I think I've covered, the journey down and the journey back is part of the adventure. I love exploring. So 36 hours, no problem. Puglia was a little bit too far. I think that was another 10 hours driving, maybe a bit. It's a long way down anyway, because the roads get slower off the toll road down the bottom. So it feels right, and yeah, absolutely no regrets whatsoever. It's Italy. I mean, you'd travel around the world to get here, wouldn't you? Okay, quick fire. Will I get a ride on mower if I can afford one? Turn the land over to the farmer. No, I don't think so. I don't think he makes much money off the little plot I've got left, and he'll help me keep it under control until it's landscaped, and there might be a deal, but I'm not allowed to profit from the land is the rule, and I signed up for that. Livestock, no, not a chance, not here enough, and there aren't any livestock in the region anyway, or near me anyway. Outhouse conversion, yeah, definitely. I think we'll play a different game on that one, cover that in the next video. Alright, salute or cheers, so I'm going to turn the camera off now. I'm going to go out. It's a beautiful day, Sunday morning. Have a look back around the market and then go for a walk along the beach, and then I'll head back home and start filming the video about the planning permission. So in that I'll cover what I asked for, the stupid questions I now realise I asked, the questions I failed to ask which I should have asked, why they said no, and most importantly what they offered back, what they said they would say yes to. So Hope you like that. Hope you like this. This is going to be a side video away from the main content. Okay, thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. There's probably more I've forgotten, so just keep asking questions. I don't mind. I'll help as best I can. Another thing I was going to add, that square I was just sat in previously, they do concerts there. So there's a big festival in the summer here anyway. I think Simple Minds are playing there soon, and the theatre just behind me, Sting's coming. Not here, typical. So this place is really cool. And then last summer, or was it the summer before, Imola racetrack, watched Pearl Jam. What a concert that was. It's got it all here. It's got it all. You got to get down here. Cheers. Nice cup, innit? Cafe Rico's.